Hello and welcome back to Where's the Bandwagon. My name is Will and this is part 3 of my reaction, breakdown and review of An Unearthly Child. Now part 2 has been blocked due to copyright, although that video was a review, so I've disputed the claim and the video should be back up soon, I hope. But in the meantime, enjoy this part 3. My reviews aren't very linear, so it shouldn't matter too much if you don't see part 2 in order. Sorry it took so long to upload the sequels to my first part of this reaction. I've been working on my other series on this channel where I find Easter eggs, secrets as I break down new Who episodes of Doctor Who, so check that out if you're interested. And to watch part 1 of this reaction you can use the card on the top right hand side of the screen. Don't forget to subscribe to be automatically entered to win these Doctor Who trading cards. Please no spoilers in the comments, let's get to it. It's interesting from a production and story point of view that they choose to go here for the first trip in the TARDIS, to a barren place of sand and rocks which is pretty plain compared to the things that they will get up to. The production could have gone to somewhere more in-your-face, mind-blowing, similar to how the first episode of Rick and Morty just throws you into the wonderful stuff that's going to appear in the series, which sells it. Here we see the remnants of an animal in the sand. This makes the landscape out to be hostile and barren, and reminds me of this sci-fi story. When analysing it, Ian says it could be anything.
Could be anything.
This made me think, is this Earth? You know, we know they're cavemen, but these could be cavemen of another species. When I watched the episode back, I discovered that the Doctor says,
"Well, there you are, new world for you."
This suggests that this is another planet other than Earth, because he says it's a new world. But this could just be him using a figure of speech about how different Earth was then until now. When researching for the episode, I discovered that there is a comic called Hunters of the Burning Stone, which does confirm that this episode was set on Earth. I love Ian and Barbara. They're like deer in the headlights, although still remarkably calm. Now, usually when I see characters that are remarkably calm, especially in places where they should be freaking out, it does annoy me and it does get weird, but here, for some reason, it still feels natural. I'm not sure what it is about the actors. It might just be how gentle they are. I can't quite work it out, but I'm sure I'll be able to work out what it is I love about them at some point.
I'll get it in a minute.
What's great about Ian's character is that once he comes to terms with the fact that he's been proven wrong, he goes out of his way to acknowledge his mistake.
I was wrong, wasn't I?
It's pretty awesome to see the Doctor smoking. Looking back, I know now that this is to further the plot with Cal seeing him light a flame, but I don't think we'll see the Doctor smoking again in New Who. When they get in trouble, we get jangled, up-tempo and startling music, which goes with the attack on the Doctor. We will again see similar music later in the story. This music is in contrast to the mystical, confused music that we hear when we see Ian and Barbara exit the TARDIS. Music is something that I'll be extremely interested in, as I firmly believe that, like John Williams in Star Wars, new Doctor Who would be so much less of a show without Murray Gold's music. Now, I'm not expecting the music to be as good as Murray Gold's, but maybe I'll be proved wrong and have to do a humble speech like Ian.
I was wrong, wasn't I?
Ian and Barbara's surprisingly level-headedness and approach to the situation follows over once they find the Doctor's things strewn out. This is interesting to see that Susan is the one that's freaking out, with Ian and Barbara calming her down. This reminds us that even though Susan is the more experienced time and space traveller, that she is still the young girl, and that these two are her teachers and guardians at school. We learn of the Doctor's notebook and how important it is to him.
He'd never leave his notebook. It's too important to him.
This is such a cool concept that he keeps all of his notes and travels in time. The writer tells us emphatically how important it is to the Doctor. Now I wonder where this is now. Is it just forgotten? Maybe it's locked in a trunk somewhere, or is there a reason to why he doesn't have it anymore? Maybe he loses it in a tussle or it gets destroyed, or maybe he just doesn't use it because he's a changed man. Again, don't spoil anything, I'll find out for myself. Ian and Barbara come up with a plan to look for the Doctor. Underneath the basic human decency of wanting to help, Ian and Barbara also have to contend with the fact that if anything happens to the Doctor, they'll be stuck here, as he is so far the only one who can pilot the TARDIS. We cut back to the caveman, and the caveman dialogue is quite peculiar. Initially, it's very simplistic, with sentences missing words to display how simple their language and brains are.
I am leader.
But then there's also more complex sentences about lying and propaganda, which is quite advanced.
Tsar has many good skins. He has forgotten what the cold is like.
They use political statements which we've heard before, very political statements, but transform it into caveman language.
Tsar does not tell you lies. He does not say, "I will do this thing," and then not do it.
For example, here the Doctor is brought to the tribe and Tsar says,
"This is a strange creature."
Now straight away Cal jumps in on his innocent and correct sentence by twisting it to say that Tsar is scared, manipulating the tribe.
Is Tsar son of the firemaker, afraid of an old man?
Cal also says,
There was a strange tree, the creature was in it.
now this is Cal mistaking the TARDIS for a tree, something that reminded me heavily of the TARDIS transforming into a tree in the latest series of Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, nice. Good chameleon circuit.
We see that Cal thinks the Doctor himself started the fire, but it was the Doctor's matches.
Inside, he's full of fire.
This is a very old example of the Arthur C. Clarke's famous saying that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Witchcraft. Time Lord.
In this case, the Doctor's matches, which is a form of simple technology to us, is incomprehensible to the caveman, whose only way of rationalizing it is to believe that he is magical and that he breathes fire. The Doctor wakes up to this absolute madness. As we, the audience, have been watching the cavemen, we see the way these cavemen speak and interact and manipulate and see what their culture is like. This, for me, builds up the situation that the Doctor will find himself in when he wakes. You know, how does he deal with these creatures? The Doctor is super intelligent, so when he's faced with a genius, he can usually outsmart them. However, for me, it was really interesting to see how the Doctor will react when he meets these cavemen who are just simple and savages. He can't really outsmart them like he would a smart creature. It's like watching him having to talk his way out of a tiger attack.
There are very good, solid scientific reasons for being really quite frightened just now.
The Doctor achieves this by using simple messages and sentences, using questions to make the tribe think about how harmless he is.
You don't have to be afraid of me. I'm an old man.
This shows the Doctor adapting to his environment and adapting to his captors. During this, we see the Doctor again turn away from the people talking and turn to the camera to have little discussions and thoughts to himself to work things out. We saw this in the first episode and I absolutely love this trait. He also uses this to take a moment to calm himself before working things out. This is early on and we see that the Doctor is actually in real peril. Seriously, he could die here. This is great to see from that perspective, to show his weaknesses and show that he isn't invincible, that he can be beaten. Characters which actually have some danger and vulnerability, or that seemingly can lose, do make shows more exciting to watch. The companions come in to save the Doctor and they all run in like it's a bar crawl. Then as the tribe outmuscle them, we see the Doctor's quick thinking, which saves Ian.
The key's eyes. There will be no fire.
This is the first time we see the Doctor show some care for his new companions. Of course, he wouldn't want to see anyone get bludgeoned to death, but he showed absolutely no care for them before now. This is the Doctor using his intelligence to say the right words to stop harm. Now that's the Doctor I know. It's really interesting that they're in such a dangerous situation right off the bat. Seriously, all of them could die here in horrible ways, so I'm guessing that Ian and Barbara will bring this up in the future, or in future episodes. At the end of this story, we see that Ian and Barbara want the Doctor to take them home,
You must take us back, you must!
which shows that they didn't have a great time and that they don't want to continue with more adventures. Here, the group of time travellers are outnumbered by the cavemen. This is shown here that they could not possibly overcome the tribe with force, as we've just seen them fail at that. This shows that they will need to use their intelligence and planning to get out of this situation, which is great, and it also sets the theme of the show, which is that our heroes can't just use brute force and won't be just using brute force and being the best fighter, but have to be clever and come up with plans to stop the monsters. They go to the Cave of Skulls, and this is a really great set. I did find out after that the bones that they used here, or some of them at least, were real and taken from an abattoir, and that they stunk under the hot studio lights. That's commitment, I suppose. For those of you that don't know, I give a card out if I use one of your comments in a video, but I also pick random subscribers to win these cards every part 1 video. Now I know this is a part 3, but I'm feeling generous, so we'll do it for this video as well. So here are the winners for this time. The winner out of the new subscribers is Joshua Wilson, and the winner of the existing subscribers is Zeke. So if that's you, if you've won, then comment down below which of the cards that you see on screen that you want me to send you, and we'll work out how I can get it to you. It's first come first serve basis for you winners, so comment down quick so that you don't miss out on your favourite card. And if you add an email or a social media link to your about pages on your YouTube channel profiles, then I can contact you about delivery. To you winners, you have 7 days to comment your card and get into contact with me before I'll have to move on and forfeit your prize. For the rest of you, don't worry, all you have to do is subscribe and you'll automatically be entered. Thank you for watching this part 3 video. Part 4 will be out in 48 hours, and hopefully I can get the part 2 video back up once my copyright claim goes through. Like the video and consider subscribing to support my content. See you later.